Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to an introduction to use case diagrams. What you'll learn about here is how to draw a use case diagram. Also, the terminology used, particularly that used in what's called UML, Unified Modeling Language, and how these diagrams can help you to understand systems and requirements. This is a practical session, so all of that is supported by a short case study based on a bookshop, which I'll take you through step by step. Let's start with what a use case diagram is. It shows the system under investigation, the system that you're looking at. It also shows the people or organisations or other systems that interact with it. And it gives you a high level view of what the system does, what its functions are. So, what's the point of all this? Well, a use case diagram helps you to better understand the system that you're analysing, identify possible areas for improvement and requirements, and learn more about the stakeholders so that you can then talk to them about their requirements, what they would like the system to do better. Let's dive in and take a first look at a use case diagram. And here it is. What you can see here is the system boundary represented by this large ellipse here. The actors or users of the system shown by the stick people around the outside. The use cases, which are essentially business processes, shown by these smaller ellipses inside the boundary, and associations, these lines that show who is doing what, who is using each use case, each business process. Don't worry if that doesn't all make sense right away. We're now going to work through an example step by step. We're going to draw a use case diagram for a bookshop. In summary, what a bookshop does is sell new books, plus a small selection of other items such as greetings cards and postcards. In terms of sales, a customer might walk in, browse a little bit, select a book and buy it there and then, or if the shop doesn't have what they want, they can order it for payment and collection later on. We can start the diagram with a single use case. One of the things the shop needs to do is purchase stock. Clearly, they need to do this in order to fill their shelves and sell books. So this is represented with an ellipse inside the system boundary. Each use case has a short descriptive label that always starts with a verb to describe the action. In this case, purchase, stock. A use case represents an action that accomplishes a task within the system. And we now have the first two elements of our diagram. We can now add the actors, or the people who are interacting with the system and with this use case. In the case of purchase book, there are two. The bookseller, who initiates this and decides which books need to be ordered, and the book supplier, who will fulfill that order and supply the books. They are shown outside the system boundary as stick people with a clear label showing who they are. So what we now have is two actors with their associations with the use case, the process, shown by these lines. Another thing that the bookshop needs to do, another use case, is taking orders. So this introduces another actor, customer. It's the customer who places an order, tells the bookseller what they want, who then passes it to the book supplier for fulfillment. Another use case is where the customer walks into the shop, chooses a book and buys it there and then from the bookseller. This can be represented with another use case on the diagram labelled sell item, with associations to the customer and the bookseller. When an item is sold, the bookshop need to take payment. So this is added to the diagram here. The customer makes the payment, the bookseller takes the payment, and this introduces another actor, the bank. Payments by card need to be validated and approved by the bank. So we have another actor and another association. So there we have it, a use case diagram showing at a high level what the bookshop does and who is involved. So what have we achieved here? Well, the use case diagram has helped us to better understand the system, how the bookshop works and who does what. It's a basis with further analysis maybe for identifying potential improvements and potential new requirements. And it's also helped us to identify some of the key stakeholders so we can talk to them in more detail about what their requirements are and what they would like the bookshop system to do. To summarise, a use case diagram shows the system boundary, the use cases, what's happening within the system, the actors, the people interacting with those use cases, and the associations between the actors and the use cases. In terms of requirements, the use case diagram has helped us to get a better understanding of the scope of the system and the business processes within it, and also the stakeholders, the people who are using the system and will be a key source of future more detailed requirements. The next steps will be to review and validate the use case diagram with the stakeholders and make any amendments necessary. We then have a good basis to move forward and add further detail, and this is done through what are called use case descriptions. So this is what I hope you've learned: use case diagrams, the terminology involved and how to use them in requirements analysis. The key thing is you now know how to draw a use case diagram. Thank you for listening.